Her millionaire son came home to find his wife trying to poison his mother. But what he uncovered next turned his entire life upside down. It was late evening when Christopher Miller, a self-made millionaire in Atlanta, returned from a 2-day business trip. Rain slicked across the driveway as his driver pulled up to the grand mansion. The moment Chris stepped inside, he felt it. An odd silence. Houses that big usually carried a hum of life. Housekeepers moving. Faint music in the background. His mother Evelyn's laughter echoing from her favorite room. But now, just the sound of rain against skylights. And a faint metallic tang in the air. Chris moved toward the blue room, where his mother, Evelyn Miller, had been recovering from a mild illness. Just 2 days ago, she was lively and chatty. Now she looked pale, lips cracked, breathing shallow. A tray sat nearby. Chamomile tea, a porcelain pillbox, and a folded napkin. By her side stood his wife, Samantha, wearing a neat cardigan and perfect smile. "Oh, honey, you're back early," she said sweetly. "I've been taking such good care of her." But Chris noticed small details. The spoon had a strange residue. The teacup seemed carefully shifted away from him. And Samantha's hand hovered near the pillbox as if guarding it. When Chris touched his mother's hand, Evelyn squeezed his fingers longer than usual. Her eyes looked desperate, silently begging him to notice. In the hallway, 2 housekeepers whispered nervously. "She should be getting better," one muttered. "But she's only getting weaker," the other replied, until they spotted Chris watching. Silence fell instantly. Suspicion began building in his chest. Downstairs in the kitchen, Chris found a warm mug sitting in the sink, steam still rising. A tea bag wrapper lay in the trash, but it had been cut too cleanly. Almost surgically, he turned it over with a spoon. Nothing obvious. But his instincts told him something was very, very wrong. At breakfast the next morning, Samantha slid across the table with a perfect smile. "Eggs? Toast? Anything you like," she offered cheerfully. But Chris noticed her eyes flicking toward the back hallway, and her fingers tapping the table twice, nervous and restless. Later, as he passed the guest bathroom, he heard water running. He pushed the door gently, only to find Samantha nearly jumping out of her skin. In her hand was a small glass vial. She shoved it into her cardigan pocket and forced a brittle laugh. "Oh, I was just mixing bath salts for your mother." Bath salts? In a guest bathroom. Chris didn't buy it. That evening, when Chris tucked in his mother, she slid a worn leather journal from beneath her pillow. Too weak to speak, she pushed it toward him. Inside, shaky handwriting told a story. Tea tasted bitter. Felt dizzy. Samantha insists I drink every drop. Sharp pain in stomach after medicine. Each line was a dagger. Each word confirmed what Chris had begun to fear. The next morning, Chris entered the blue room quietly. His wife's voice floated through the air, soft and coaxing. "Come on, Evelyn, just one sip. It'll help you feel better." But Chris froze. Samantha held the vial, dripping dark liquid into Evelyn's steaming cup of tea. Drop. Drop. When she turned, she startled. "Chris, you scared me. It's just her medicine." He picked up the cup, sniffed, and set it back down. His mother weakly pushed the journal toward him again. Her eyes screamed louder than her frail voice ever could. Samantha's smile cracked. Her voice sharpened. "You're imagining things. She's old, confused. You think I'd hurt her?" Chris lifted the journal. "She thinks so. And now, I do too." Silence swallowed the room. Chris didn't scream or accuse. He moved with calm precision. One call to his trusted family doctor, Dr. Harris. One call to his sharp lawyer, Michael Grant. Within an hour, both men arrived. Dr. Harris examined the tea, frowned, and packed it into a sample bag. He inspected the vial Samantha had hidden. His face darkened. "This isn't medicine," he said firmly. Michael scribbled notes, capturing every word. Samantha's excuses tumbled out. She asked for herbal remedies. She imagines things. You know how old people are. But her voice cracked, her eyes darting for sympathy that wasn't there. Her hands twisted her wedding ring nervously, nails tapping against the glass table. Finally, Chris's calm voice cut through the tension. "You weren't just trying to poison her. You wanted me blamed when she died." The truth landed like thunder. Samantha's face went pale. The perfect mask she had worn for years shattered completely. By nightfall, Samantha's belongings were packed. The marriage ended in silence. No screaming, no begging. Within days, whispers spread through Atlanta's wealthy circles. A woman once admired for her beauty and grace was now branded as a monster. Doors slammed shut, reputations crumbled, and Samantha disappeared into shadows. That night, Chris brewed a cup of chamomile tea himself and carried it upstairs. Evelyn's trembling hands wrapped around the cup. "You saved me," she whispered, tears slipping down her cheeks. Chris kissed her forehead gently. "No, Mama. You saved yourself. You never gave up. I just finally listened." As he stood by the tall window, city lights stretching out before him, Chris realized money could buy houses, cars, influence, but it could never buy trust. And protecting his mother, the woman who had once protected him, was the most priceless victory of all. This story is a reminder that betrayal often hides in plain sight, but truth always surfaces. When your instincts whisper, don't ignore them. Sometimes, those whispers are the only thing standing between life and death. If this story gripped you until the very end, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because the next story might just be even darker.